The NLDS could end tonight. All the Cubs need to do is score some runs off of Madison Bumgarner, who hasn't allowed a run over his last 23 innings in an elimination game. Seems easy enough. Bumgarner, Arrieta, Cubs versus Giants. Todd Hollandsworth's here to break it down. Plus, Patrick Mooney, the latest from AT&T Park. Meanwhile, thank God for the Cubs. We don't have to talk about the Bears much this season. They go to Indy and fall to the struggling Colts, and John Fox's team is now 1-4. Patrick Manley, Jason McKee drop by to talk about what's next in another disappointing season for the beloved. Welcome into Sports Talk Live, presented by the Chevy Silverado. I'm David Kaplan. Hope you had a good weekend, good start to your week. Panel for today's show, he is the aforementioned Jason McKee, former Bears running back. Todd Hollandsworth, my partner here at CSN on our Cubs coverage. Rich Campbell from the Chicago Tribune. Patrick Manley will join us in a couple of minutes. All right, let's start with baseball conversation. The Cubs will try and sweep away the San Francisco Giants tonight. A win over Madison Bumgarner puts the Cubs in the NLCS for the second consecutive season. Holly, this is a really cool matchup.
It is.
Defending Cy Young against a guy who doesn't ever lose in the postseason. What do you have to do to beat Bumgarner?
Well, I mean, I think you need to wear him down. I think you use the anti-Mets approach, and I'm referring to the wild card game that we just witnessed him pitch, a complete game shutout up in New York where, Connor Gillespie provides the home run. He goes CG. I think you're going to watch the Cubs do what they did more along the lines, I believe it was September 3rd when they faced him at Wrigley Field when they got his pitch count up to 103 in 6 innings. Now, he didn't walk anybody, and he did strike out 10 Cubs hitters. But the Cubs got him out of there and had multiple chances at winning this ball game. So, again, yeah, is this guy a big PTPer? He's a postseason performer. He's a primetime performer. We know what this guy can do when the lights are the brightest. But the bottom line is this. If you get that pinch count up, Cappy, and you keep it close, which I'm telling you, if I'm betting on anybody in our rotation, I'm betting on Jake Arrieta stepping up tonight and being huge. You got a chance to win a ball game, and that's exactly how I see this one playing. We get to the 7th, 8th, 9th inning with a chance to win a game.
Heavy right-handed lineup tonight, too, as well, with Soler playing, maybe a little bit more offense than Jason Hayward has been offering them. Hayward could be a defensive replacement. You get Soler to run into one, and, you get out of there with another low-scoring win.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a lot more than Kerry Wood being your savior as he was in Game 2. I think, Rizzo's got to wake up a little bit. I think some more of the guys got to step up, in the batter's box, and you're not going to rely on Lady Luck like what Kerry Wood did in Game 2. So I think, hopefully Rizzo can step up. Chris Bryant has played well. Javier Baez has shown well in Game 1 and 2. So hopefully they can step up and get some bats on the ball against Bumgarner.
You look at Bumgarner. He is a really elite arm. Let's go to our poll question first. Go to csnchicago.com/vote to weigh in. How worried are you about Arrieta's performance tonight? A lot, somewhat, or not at all? You'll see the votes tabulated on your screen. How about you, Holly?
Somewhat. It's not Jake Arrieta. I've talked about it all August and September. Listen, this guy is still one of the most difficult guys in the bigs to square up. I talked to the hitters on other teams. They want no part of Jake Arrieta. He is one of the most uncomfortable at-bats there is. With that being said, he seems to have a moment in his starts, and it goes one of two ways. He either starts to get a little wild and lose that fastball, and he'll walk a few guys, or he'll go the other way, and that fastball will straighten out as he tries to command it in the zone, and he'll make some fat pitches, meaning out over the plate. There's been a couple examples of that. When that moment happens, if he can kind of regather himself and get there, and again, there's enough history. He's made 4 starts at AT&T Park with a 2 ERA. That's my argument here. I'm like, he's better at AT&T Park than Madison Bumgarner's better than he is at AT&T Park, only because he's only started a few more times. But you've got a chance to do something. I think it's as simple as that. He doesn't have to look at this as matching pitch for pitch with Madison Bumgarner. Go out there and beat Jake Arrieta. Do what you do. Let this be one of those classic Cub wins of a 103-win season where we watch maybe an early lead, hold up, 1-0, 2-0. I mean, in all honesty, I don't expect the Cubs to score 9 runs tonight. Do you? I don't. If they score 4, I think that would be amazing. But if this game is within 1 run or 2 runs when we get to the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning, that is exactly what I expect to happen. And even if you're down, we've watched this team enough times this year do damage late in ball games and pull out a win.
Well, it's also not a do or die situation for the Cubs. So
Right.
you could try to wear Bumgarner down and take your chances tomorrow night with John Lackey against Matt Moore. So the Cubs have built for themselves a little bit of a cushion here. And, you know, Holly, you mentioned Arrieta commanding his pitches. I mean, it's a walk rate of around 3.5 since June, the end of June, okay? So that's a big deal for him. He's got to command his pitches. But this is not as dangerous of a lineup as Bumgarner is going to face. So you have to like their chances, especially it's a 3-game scenario, and Bumgarner would have to come back on 2 days rest in Game 5. This is a game you can kind of just let it loose, be relaxed, understanding the big picture here.
Yeah, 42% say somewhat. 41% of you say not at all. And I'm somewhere in between that. If I know he can locate, that his command is okay, I'm not worried about Jake Arrieta at all.
Well, to me, it's somewhat just because, you know, classic Arrieta starting the second half of 6 innings of a decent start. You know, there'll be, 2, maybe 3 earned runs. It's not what we saw last year leading us to, his National League Cy Young trophy. It's good, but not great. And you look at most of his starts, there's just seems to be a moment. If he can control that moment tonight, maybe make it not even happen or non-existent, then there's really nothing to talk about. But that's just it. It's only somewhat for a very small margin. It's not like, I'm worried about him coming out because his velocity's down. It's just one of those things where he seems to have a spot in a game where he'll lose it. And it's so random, Cappy. I mean, it's not even based on anything. He'll come out. It might be a 1-0 ball game. It might be the bottom of the lineup, and all of a sudden he can't locate.
And let's hope from a mental standpoint that he can channel that Arrieta we saw from last year. And obviously it's hard to replicate the production that he had last year along with that Cy Young. But when you look at, his history, and I think it's a luxury to be able to go into a game like this and have an Arrieta at your disposal pitching in a big game on the road like they're going to have tonight.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing. You have a 2-0 lead, and you haven't even used the guy that, as of June, was pitching again at a historic level, and then he's cooled since. But you still have an ace going tonight.
A lot of options.
And that's without big offensive production in Games 1 and 2.
Got nothing out of Rizzo. A little bit out of Bryant.
3, 4,
Wood was
5
your hero
like
in Game
1
2.
for 22 in this series right now.
A lot of things to be happy about. Your hero,
brought
John Lackey.
Travis Wood.
Yeah,
You brought John Lackey here to pitch this game. John Lackey's he's pitching tomorrow if need be. I mean, they're in a great spot right now. I mean, think about it. I mean, you kind of I was talking about this morning over at MLB Network, and they haven't played their best baseball, even in the first 2 games. I'd love to see the offense start to roll. And you're winning games, much like we talked about them this year. Like when you pin them up against, whether it's, the Giants or the Dodgers or even the Blue Jays and some of the other teams that are hot right now. Obviously, the Blue Jays are playing great baseball. A lot of people are jumping on them to go to the World Series. They match up well with just about everybody. They find ways to win. And I've always said this, one thing I learned in the game. Good teams find ways to win different types of games. There is there's an MO on how you go about your business. There is always a way. Our win is like this. But can I win your way? And you find that the good teams can win. We can play Giants baseball and we'll beat the Giants at their own game. We'll play the Toronto Blue Jays and we'll beat them at their own game. The Cubs have done that this year.
I look at the Giants, and again, they may go out tonight and put up 12 runs. I don't think they will. But there's no one in their lineup that you go, oh, my God. We got to pitch around that guy. At least with the Mets, Cespedes can wreck a game with one swing. The Giants don't look to me to be a lineup like I have more respect for Bruce Bochy, and I already think he's a Hall of Famer. You got that team to the playoffs with some pretty good starting pitching, but a pretty pedestrian lineup.
Yeah. Angel Pagan, is the guy with the best numbers against Jake Arrieta tonight. I mean, Pagan's a good player. It's not a knock on him. But collectively, I had mentioned to you, they don't have a 20-homer guy. They don't have a 90 RBI guy. What does that tell you about who they are and how they identify? Like, in order for them to win, they have to get great pitching a lot of nights, good bullpen typically. But the way that the offense works is it's almost always got to be collective because they don't hit for a tremendous amount of power. To your point, the 2-run homer, the 3-run homer happens for them less than it happens for just about anybody else in baseball. So when they do score, it's got to be a combination of walks, hits, taking the extra base. And it was funny because I went back and looked at the game because Arrieta and Bumgarner did this at the beginning of September. They matched up at Wrigley Field. And it's exactly what that game was. It was a close ball game. But the San Francisco Giants in that game were just a little bit better. If you remember, Brandon Crawford stole third base when Jake Arrieta wasn't looking. I mean, things like that played into how they won that game that day. And I think that tonight we're going to see a very similar game. So we'll see how it goes.
See you at 7:30 for postseason.
Sounds
live.
good.
All right, that's Todd Hollandsworth. All right, Brian Hoyer threw for almost 400 yards. Jordan Howard had a $118 on the ground. Bears defense had 5 sacks. They still lost. Bears are 1-4 after a loss in Indianapolis. So what now, Foxy? Want a hot dog? We'll discuss it with Patrick Manley next on STL.
Sports Talk Live is presented by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers who know what it takes to be number one. It's all about drive.
Today we're going to be comparing these 2 truck beds. Let's start over here with this aluminum bed. Put your toolbox up here.
Whoa, that's a big hole. That is unbelievable.
Now let's check out the roll-formed steel bed of the Silverado. Same spot, same empty toolbox.
Took it way better.
The steel held up.
It's Truck Month. Find your tag and get over $11,000 total value on this Silverado All-Star. Or now through October 10th, get 0% financing for 72 months on all 2016 Silverado pickups. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Is your lunch break a race against the clock? You run here, you run there, until everything comes to a screeching halt. Now is the time for a 5-hour energy protein shot. 21 grams of protein and 100 little calories. It's not lunch, it's energy and protein, and a lot faster than fast food. 5-hour energy protein shots. Energy, protein, 100 calories. Available at these fine stores.
Here's some information. We have the right amount of beer taps. If we had any more, the kegs wouldn't stay fresh. Any fewer, and we might not have that beer you like on tap. The one you can't pronounce, so you just point. We've got all that and more, which makes us pretty confident. We've got that confident look in our eyes, the squinty one with the furrowed brow, because of the taps.
Do you have too many bills but not enough money? Would you like one lower payment for all debt, little or no money down? I'm attorney Peter Francis Geraci. Our Chapter 13 plans stop collections and creditors in one day for as low as $95 every 2 weeks. Get rid of bill collectors and high car payments. Get one lower payment today. Call or click now.
When you need to be debt-free, call 1-800-CALL-PFG. That's 1-800-CALL-PFG.
Tonight, your Cubs face the Giants in a huge Game 3 battle by the Bay, and CSN has complete coverage. Get your pregame fix with Cap and Holly. Then turn back to hear from the players Joe Madden and more. Cubs Postseason Live starts tonight at 7:30 on CSN.
Go beyond the gridiron and grab the biggest Bears news at CSNChicago.com. Insider John Moonwallen rushes the field to tackle the storylines that you care about. Plus breaking news, streaming video, team stats, and social media. For Bears Buzz with Bite, visit CSNChicago.com. Brought to you by Max Madsen Mitsubishi.
At the end of the week. Hockey season is upon us. Wednesday night at 6:30, Blackhawks walk the red carpet and kick off this season. Pat Boyle, Steve Conroy will host the annual event from the United Center. Jamal Mayers will be on the red carpet talking with former and current Blackhawks as they get ready to face the Blues later that night. It's an event you can only see here on CSN. This was the touchdown that broke the Bears' back. Busted coverage, T.Y. Hilton into the end zone, and the Colts beat the Bears 29-23. Patrick Manley joins us now as well. Patrick, take us through what happened on this play, because that guy's one of the best receivers in the league. He can't be that open.
No, they had 2 safeties. One safety rolled down. Chris Brzezinski didn't move back towards the middle to help Jacoby Glenn. And the other thing is this T.Y. Hilton. Shouldn't you give that guy some more help?
Respect.
Yeah, exactly. And they didn't do it the entire game. I think he had 12 targets with 11 receptions, if I'm right on the stats there. And then they're not helping him. He's their best receiver. They should have.
Yeah, I was going to say what happened on that play is what we saw all day. T.Y. Hilton wide open making plays, and that's why he's a special player. But, you know, in a game like that, you look at the offensive stats and the 5 sacks that you mentioned earlier. Those are good, but we did just enough to get beat. We didn't do enough to win. And those things, you know, the little things that we made mistakes on will come back to haunt you, and that's why we lost the game.
Do you believe that there is a quarterback, I won't call it controversy.
Can't call it controversy.
Look, Fox said today, look, we don't even have a plan because Jay's not back.
Yeah.
But let's say that they play Jacksonville and then Jay, in fact, let's hear John Fox. Here is John Fox talking about the quarterback position.
What is the reluctance in not sort of laying out a plan for what will happen at quarterback?
Well, because we don't have a plan. I mean, right now we've got 1 guy or 2 guys healthy, and they're Matt Barkley and Brian Hoyer, and those are our quarterbacks right now. And I think all our focus is there right now. Well, I think we're managing it well. I mean, it kind of is what it is, and I think everybody on the team knows that Brian Hoyer is the quarterback right now, and that's where all our focus is going. I think Jay understands that too. Moving forward, I can't predict the future. Otherwise, that'd be a different line of work. But I think everybody's handling it professionally.
Okay, you were there for that. Your thoughts on that?
Well, there's no way that the Bears don't have a plan. Okay, so John Fox is just saying this because basically they just don't want to announce what it is until they absolutely have to. Until Jay Cutler returns to practice, he doesn't have to.
Why doesn't he say that?
Well, it's a great question.
I have a plan, and it's none of your business.
Well, and Fox has been around long enough, and he's done enough of these press conferences that he should be able to command his words in a way that conveys that with some authority and some command of the situation. The Jaguars and the Bears are both going into game planning sessions over the next 36 hours, and you would understand why he would think that there's some type of competitive advantage to withholding that information. But I don't see it, and you're right. It's a clumsy way to phrase it.
Yeah, I think if you're asking, should you play Jay when he comes back, I think you stay with Brian Hoyer right now until he starts throwing interceptions and really losing games because of him. They're not losing games because of him. And I think you stay with him. And, I've talked to guys on the team, or you hear about guys around the team, that they really like Brian Hoyer. They like Jay as well, but they really like Brian as a quarterback. And if he's putting up 522 yards of offense, granted they're not getting the point total they want, but if he's doing that and not turning the ball over, that's what John Fox wants.
Yeah, definitely. You got to stick with the hot hand, and right now he's your guy. He's been consistent. Pat mentioned no interceptions, and it's easier to bring in different positions, but it's harder to just flip-flop quarterbacks. And right now the guys are comfortable with Hoyer. He's playing well. I think he's the best chance right now.
All right, a lot of second-guessing today by the Hungry Bears media. John Fox was serving up some delicious descriptions for them.
It could have been an option. I don't know that it can be super critical. I think, when you're out there playing quarterback, it looks a little different than when you're up in a press box having hot dogs.
But Jen, as a coach, does that illustrate the difference between Hoyer and Cutler?
Well, I'm not going to get into all this, as far as differences between two guys. I just think that, it would have been an option that, had we had the coolness of the hot dog laden press box, we might have gone there.
He was open from up there.
Yes. He was open. He was open from that film. I just looked at too.
How many hot dogs did you have in the press box?
I turned them down yesterday. I went for the pizza and the chicken Caesar salad.
They're not good in India, is that what you're saying?
No, I just didn't, I was going for the better option.
You still got mustard on your shirt.
Yeah, exactly. That's a flippant remark from a coach that really is trying to cover for a quarterback here who made the wrong read. Right. And you heard at the very end of that clip where we said, well, John, from our hot dog laden press box, Alshon was open. And you heard him say, yeah, on the film, he was too. So really, it's all jokes and whatever. This is a 1-4 team that needs better play at quarterback. It needs better coaching. It needs better everything right now. They're not going anywhere.
Reading the quotes, I read the quotes originally, and I thought maybe he was more demeaning to the media. I thought he was going after him.
He actually laughed a
little.
And
then now seeing the clip and seeing him laughing, I take it completely different. I take it differently. So I'm okay with it. He understands. He's just like an old school coach. When he got hired, I said, you're going to hear, ball coach speak. And that's what he's doing right now. He's keeping it in-house. He's talking to his guys. He's correcting his guys in-house and giving nothing to us up here.
Once again, here's the Sports Talk Live poll question. Go to csnchicago.com/vote. Are the Bears better or worse than they were 1 season ago? How would you vote?
Oh, man, I'm going to say worse. One, because your special teams has been pretty bad, and I'm a guy that's missing Robbie Gould right now. You look at it, and everybody's talking about that last play in which he missed Alshon. Well, let's go back to the field goals. I mean, he had 2 opportunities to make that kick due to a penalty, and he missed both of those. Now, if he makes that, you go down. You don't have to score a touchdown. You get to kick a field goal to tie the game and possibly to go into overtime and then win it. So there's a lot of things wrong with this team, and obviously we've magnifying that play. But you look at all the other plays that we missed, and those had a big emphasis on the game.
I'm going to say worse just because of injuries. They don't have anybody playing. Kevin White's going to be out again. Kyle Fuller's been out. All these guys were supposed to be starters and really help this team. Eddie Goldman's out. I mean, I can keep going down the list. They're not playing. So they don't have the same talent that they had last year. They're worse this year than they were last year.
Are they going to bring in kickers to audition? And do you believe Connor Barth is kicking against Jacksonville?
I think I'd be shocked if they did not bring in kickers. And For them to cut Connor Barth would be an admission that the Robbie move was a mistake.
Okay, would they bring Robbie back?
No.
Why not?
Yeah. No.
Exactly.
Why
would Robbie come back?
I'll defer to Pat on this.
So Robbie was just in Dallas for a workout because Dan Bailey, their kicker, has been injured. Ended up kicking during the week, but it was Robbie and Kai Forbath. Those are the two veteran guys on the street to come into any team in the NFL and kick. There's a couple rookies, Ross Martin from Duke, my Dukies, but that's basically it. There's 3 or 4 guys. Robbie's the best of the bunch on the street.
Well, let me ask you a question. You know Robbie. You snapped for him for years. If the phone rang and it was Ryan Pace, Robbie, you've had a few weeks. Catch your breath. We want to bring you back. Let's, clean slate.
I think you would.
You think
at the same? Yeah. But what about at a dramatically reduced salary? I mean, he was going to make $2.5 million.
As a specialist, you understand when you get cut and you lose that salary, you've got to re-earn your right to make your money again. So if he comes back to whatever team he goes to and plays the rest of the year and kicks like the normal Robbie, he's going to earn another contract. It might not be a 5-year contract, but it might be a 2-year contract at a nice salary. But I think the Bears, I know the locker room would take him back. I know the staff, Tony Medlin and the training staff, the rest of the building would take him back. I know the McCaskies love him, so I think they would.
Also, 64% of you voted and said the Bears are worse than they were 1 year ago. Speaking of being bad, maybe brutal's a better word, Mark Trestman is out of work again, fired by the Baltimore Ravens this morning as they are looking for a new offensive coordinator promoted from within. Marty Morningweg takes that gig, and Mark Trestman is out. Are you shocked by this? Yesterday, they ran the ball 11 times in the first quarter for 73 yards, and he barely ran it the rest of the day.
I mean, we saw this here in Chicago. Obviously, we all had issues with Coach Trestman. And if you're not producing in this league, regardless of what position you're at, you're going to be replaced. So, I mean, they replaced him, and we'll see what type of production they get from the next guy.
You played for him. What do you think?
I wasn't shocked he was fired. I was actually shocked he was hired. I was shocked that John Harbaugh hired him. Knowing his philosophy, he throws it laterally, doesn't run the ball. That's not what Harbaugh likes to do. That's not how he has his success in Baltimore. I was shocked that he was hired, not shocked that he was fired. He's a good position coach is what I think he is. I don't think he's a head guy.
Quarterback coach.
Yes, a quarterback coach, yes.
Well, that and the Ravens have playoff aspirations every year. I mean, after a 3-0 start, that's a change you can make and still keep your season on track. And even media guys who cover that team that I would talk to in the offseason, they thought if this offense doesn't start well, Mark Trestman's going to be on the hot seat, and you see it happen today.
Yeah, I'm just amazed by that hire. I am. As for another former Bears head coach, Illinois off to a 1-4 start under Lovie Smith. And today, none too happy with a question from a reporter.
Do you have any sense that maybe you've taken it too easy or been too relaxed with the team to this point?
I'm just going to freak. Ask me that question again. Are you freaking kidding? Ask it one more time. You think if I've been too lax with that football team? I'm freaking going out there every day, just letting them do what they want to do? Absolutely not. I'm not going to give that question an answer. Lax with a football team? You freaking lax with your job? I'm not either. Thank you.
Wow. Oh, that was awesome watching you guys react to that.
The funny thing is, though, with how mad he is and he's boiling inside right now, he still kept it cool, calm, and collected.
Like most guys would have slammed their hand down and started screaming.
You know what I mean?
He was boiling. That's about as mad as he gets.
Yeah, I mean, other guys would have been screaming at the reporter, but he was... he was still cool, calm, and collected. But that is a funny
You get lax with your job? I don't either.
That was fantastic. That was great. I mean, he's a guy that he's like this all the time. If he goes one tick up or one tick down, you know whether he's mad or happy.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right, time for one final timeout. Back with more STL after this.
It's Elk Money Ford's Blowout Extravaganza event. Right now, you can buy a Ford Focus for $100 down and only $169 a month. That's right, only $100 down and $169 a month. Or get 0% financing for 72 months. Plus, get up to $2,750 cash back. Get the car you want with over 1,000 cars to choose from and the lowest prices of the year. You can't beat that. The Blowout Extravaganza event, only at the original Elk Money Ford Melrose Park, 25th and North Avenue.
We asked a group of young people when they thought they should start saving for retirement. Then we asked some older people when they actually did start saving. This gap between when we should start saving and when we actually do is one of the reasons why too many of us aren't prepared for retirement.
Just start as early as you can. It's going to pay off in the future.
If we all start saving a little more today, we'll all be better prepared tomorrow.
Prudential. Bring your challenges.
Welcome to the world of Chopped.
I am quaking in my boots.
This season is the most challenging.
You don't have any time left.
Jaw-dropping. And heart-plunging yet. And I love every minute of it.
All new Chopped. Tuesday night at 10 on Food Network.
Brought to you locally by Savers and Unique, your #1 Halloween destination.
Having the right tool makes any job easier. So get to Menards for big savings on a great selection of quality Crescent tools. This 45-piece set includes sockets that feature positive grip technology to virtually eliminate fastener rounding. Only $29.99. Improve your vehicle's performance and efficiency with Valvoline Premium Conventional Motor Oil. Pick up a bottle now for just $2.79 a quart. Find this and more during Menards Oktoberfest sale.
Save big money at Menards.
Did you know that the average funeral can cost more than $8,300? I didn't want my family burdened with the cost of my funeral, so I called Final Expense Direct and got a policy of my own. For as little as $1 a day, Final Expense Direct has policies that can help pay the cost of your funeral. Plus, you'll get the Family Relief Guide. There's no medical exam, and my policy can't be canceled.
Call now for a free quote. Call 800-951-2517.
SportsNet Central every night at 6:30, 10, 10:30, and midnight.
Cubs are California dreaming, and that's a state of mind that Jake Arrieta loves. Check out Stat of the Day, driven by the Chevy Silverado. Arrieta 6-0 in his last 6 starts in the Golden State with a 0.20 ERA and a 0.533 whip. And that includes a no-hitter in L.A. in August 2015. All right. What happens tonight?
I think you cannot pick against Madison Bumgarner in the playoffs at home in an elimination game. Champagne stays on ice till tomorrow night when the Cubs win. Tonight, 3-1 Giants.
I think it's going to be tough with Bumgarner on the mound, but I'm going to be a homer and go with the Cubs. I say 3-1 Cubs, and I say Adams Russell is the player of the game.
Love that. I got the Cubs 5-1. I picked the sweep before the series. I'm sticking with it.
5, right?
That is a wrap for Sports Talk Live, presented by the Chevy Silverado. SportsNet Central's next. Remember, an hour-long Cubs postseason live. Get you ready for the game at 7:30. Have a great evening. We will see you on this show tomorrow.
Today we're going to be comparing these 2 truck beds. Let's start over here with this aluminum bed. Put your toolbox up here.
Whoa, that's a big hole. That is unbelievable.
Now let's check out the roll-formed steel bed of the Silverado. Same spot, same empty toolbox.
Took it way better. The steel held up.
It's Truck Month. Find your tag and get over $11,000 total value on this Silverado All-Star. Or now through October 10th, get 0% financing for 72 months on all 2016 Silverado pickups. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Did you just see that? That was awesome. We have to try it. Okay. Okay, mine's not working. Maybe you have to bump it. Oh, yeah, do the bump it thing. Right. Okay. Yeah.
You can take money out using the BMO Harris app.
You want to buy a hairless cat? There's a pet store down the street.
Cool.
I think she said BMO Harris app. Yeah, that makes more sense.
When your phone is your debit card, that's the BMO effect. BMO Harris Bank. We're here to help.
Esurance does auto insurance a smarter way, like their photo claims tool. It helps settle your claim quickly, which saves time, which saves money. And when they save, you save. That's auto and home insurance for the modern world. Esurance, an Allstate company. Click or call. Esurance does insurance a smarter way, which saves money, like bundling home and auto coverage, which reduces red tape, which saves money. And when they save, you save. That's home and auto insurance for the modern world. Esurance, an Allstate company. Click or call.
You always do this. You had a couple of pops in you and got cocky. Who's up for a game of wing roulette, you said? Because you thought it'd be funny to watch one of your friends get stuck with the hot one. But your friends, they got teriyaki, then spicy garlic, and then Asian zing. And now you're looking at the last one and you're thinking, my God, what have I done?
Does new car shopping make you lose your mind? Get to Schaumburg Honda Automobiles for great customer service, selection, and savings.
During our sales spectacular, lease a Honda Civic sedan for just $179 a month or a CRV for only $199 a month.
Bob Rohrman's Schaumburg Honda Automobiles, just 8 blocks west of the Woodfield Mall on Gulf Road in Schaumburg.
I'm Anthony Rizzo, and you're watching the Home for Cubs Baseball, CSN Chicago, presented by State Farm.
To SportsNet Central, presented by Comcast Business.
The Cubs are just 9 wins away from taking the World Series. They need just 1 win tonight to sweep the Giants. Wall-to-wall Cubs coverage on the way, but quickly, here's what else is going on in Chicago sports. Bears receiver Kevin White's going to have surgery this week on his fractured left fibula. Could possibly play again this season, though. The earliest NFL rules would allow that is December 4th against the 49ers. The Blackhawks roster is set for opening night on Wednesday. Veteran forward Andrew Desjardins placed on IR today with a lower body injury. He's expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks.
Ask me that question again. Are you freaking kidding? Ask it one more time. You think if I've been too lax with that football team? So I'm freaking going out there every day, just letting them do what they want to do? Absolutely not. I'm not going to give that question an answer.
That was Lovie Smith's response to a question about being too easy on his Illinois squad. The Illini are struggling, and the headband is angry.
Just want to share a little bit of good news. Looks like the Cubbies are bringing me back. They're bringing back Brickma. Oh, yeah. I put in a call to Coach Matt. It looked like he's called me back, and I might be going to San Francisco. Oh, I'm so excited. Did you see those first 2 games? My God, the pitching has been outstanding. Lester, baby, Lester, firing away, firing Davy Ross back there, gunning him out at second, firing over to first, gunning him out. And then little Javi Baez stands up and doinks it into the bucket. Oh, my God, I nearly had a heart attack. Second game, Hendricks again, firing, and then he gets up to bat and pops one over to right, brings in 2, gets hit, he's out. They take him out. Big Travis Wood has to come in. Travis Wood starts firing, but then it's Travis' turn to step up, and Travis, another pitcher, knows how to use those hips. He puts it in there, and kapow!
I mean, I'm just glad he didn't break anything in the house, right?
Yeah, Rookie of the Year.
Brickma is back, appropriately so. This is SportsNet Central presented by Comcast Business. Alongside Luke Stuckmeyer, I'm Layla Rahimi.
Yeah, there it is. We found Daniel Stern. Now if we can just find Cap's giant blue foam fist. But the show must go on. It is time for the Hunt for October, presented by Lexus. So let's get right to it. Joe Madden's lineup tonight for the potential closeout game against the Giants with their career numbers against Madison Bumgarner, the Giants starter. Jorge Soler in the lineup for Game 3, batting cleanup, playing left field. Miguel Montero gets a taste. A lefty catching Jake Arrieta, batting 8th, and Jason Hayward will start this game on the bench. Here's Joe.
Started a couple of days ago just thinking it all the way through, knowing that Bumgarner was going to be pitching today and it would be Jake also. So that part was probably easier. I felt really good about Miggy catching Jake, so that was part of it. And then after that, tried to balance it out by not playing Jason. Who do you play in the outfield? It could have been Contreras also. That's where I was hung up between George and Wilson for a variety of different reasons. Chose George. I think it's the right. I mean, for me right now, it's the right way to do it.
Time for Built for Business, presented by Comcast Business. In his last 6 starts in the state of California, tonight's starter, Jake Arrieta, has been dirty. 6-0 with 44 strikeouts, an ERA of 0.20. Opponents have managed just 15 hits total in those 6 games against Arrieta. Comcast Business, built for business.
Now let's go live and west to AT&T Park. That is where we find Kelly Kroll by the Bay. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Layla, well, it doesn't get any better than this for baseball fans, does it? A do-or-die game in San Francisco for the Giants. An Arrieta-Bumgarner Game 3 matchup that fans have been salivating ever since this series began. And we just saw Jake Arrieta's numbers in California. Ridiculous. He's also been pretty darn good against the Giants. Hitters batting just 167 against him. But Arrieta admitting earlier this week that none of that matters now. He knows this year for him will be determined on what he does in October, and that starts tonight in this hostile environment.
You play the long season, regular season, to get to this moment, to have these types of opportunities, and you prepare and you move forward accordingly, and try and take care of business, and that's what we're trying to do.
It's a really good vibe that everyone puts off here, and the mentality that we have. There's definitely no panic. I wouldn't say that at all, but we got a lot of guys that are ready to show up and play ball.
I was a Cardinal fan growing up and seeing Bob Gibson doing what he did in the 60s, and then Mr. Koufax, what he did. So you have to kind of draw the parallels or the comparisons from when you were a kid. When you're caught up in the moment, you don't really, for me, you don't really make those kind of evaluations. So I look at it as, wow, it's just like what Gibson did. That's like what Koufax did, and maybe with Whitey Ford and the Yankees prior to that. It's unique. So I hope the kids that are really watching right now understand how good this guy is.
Well, to Madden's point, Bumgarner's career ERA 194 in October, 23 scoreless innings and elimination games. But as Arrieta came out, and a lot of the players want you to remember, all the Cubs fans back there, he is beatable. And that is what they are taking into this game tonight, Layla. They'd like to wrap this thing up, head back to Chicago, and get some of those guys at the top of the lineup hitting this evening here in San Francisco. But it is bound to live up to the hype. It should be a fun one here at AT&T Park. Let's send it back to you guys.
Kelly, stay warm. Live from San Francisco. Thanks again. Well, all season long, Ben Zobrist's walk-up song had been Alive by his wife, who you saw there, Christian singer Juliana Zobrist, until the playoffs. And that's when Zobrist, somewhat shockingly, decided to mix it up. On Saturday, he used Juliana's version of Benny and the Jets, with the lyrics rewritten to refer to the Cubs. And according to the San Jose Mercury News, Sir Elton John himself heard about it and gave his approval so it could play on Saturday night for everyone to hear. And hey, remember that time Theo Epstein sat in the bleachers with the rest of the front office the day they clinched? Look to the right. Apparently there is a whiteboard in his suite, and look at the message the board said, caught on camera. It says, nice mustache, which is obviously a reference to when Theo wore the fake mustache in the crowd. So Cut 4 on MLB.com had some fun with this. Perhaps this is the best rendition of what the whiteboard could have said. Bill Murray was here. Of course, we know the famous actor was at Wrigley for both home games of the NLDS.
Little hockey on this day in Chicago sports history. The captain made his NHL debut in style 9 years ago, October 10th, 2007. Jonathan Toews scored a goal in his first game ever with the Blackhawks. By the way, he's already passed 250 for his career, with the new season ready to begin. And speaking of that new season, Wednesday, 6:30, the Blackhawks walk the red carpet to kick off the season. Our Pat Boyle and Steve Conroy will host the annual event over at the United Center. You can see it only right here on Comcast SportsNet.
On deck, it is back to baseball, and what a relief the Cubs setup men and closers have been. We examine the Cubs' pen and their season-long dominance over San Francisco. Plus, we head back to the Bay to talk with a former Cubs and a former Giant about the sensational mound matchup tonight. More on Mad Bum versus Jake from State Farm after this.
SportsNet Central brought to you by Comcast Business. Comcast Business, built for business.
Did you know your business doesn't have to suffer from slow internet? Comcast Business now offers blazing fast internet speeds up to 250 megabits per second, over 6 times faster than DSL. Get internet for as low as $59.95 a month. Call today. Comcast Business, built for business. Did you know sharing Wi-Fi with your customers could leave your business exposed? Only Comcast Business offers Wi-Fi Pro, 2 separate networks, one that's private for you and one that's public for your customers. Upgrade to Wi-Fi Pro for only $19.95 a month. Call today. Comcast Business, built for business.
We asked people to write down the things they love to do most on these balloons.
Travel with my daughter.
Roller derby?
Now, give up half of them.
Do I have to?
This is the tough financial choice we could face when we retire. But if we start saving even just 1% more of our annual income, we could keep doing all the things we love.
Prudential, bring your challenges.
This rusty mess isn't going anywhere. Don't trust it to just any cleaner. Trust CLR. CLR makes quick work of the toughest jobs, dissolving crusty white buildup so your shower runs like new. CLR cuts through hard water buildup and helps keep your washer running clean. CLR also earned the EPA's Safer Choice seal, so it's safer for your family. Trust the power of the CLR family and trust your clean to CLR. CLR is available at these fine retailers.
Thursday on CSN, the men in red are back in Bridgeview for an Eastern Conference clash with Columbus. Cheer them on from your couch as they try to crush the Crew. Fire versus Crew. Live at 7 p.m. on CSN.
The hard-throwing Cuban import left-hander Aroldis Chapman. Pence bounces it to Baez. Throw to first, and the Cubs have taken game 1. Did he get the corner? He sure did. And there is that strike. Got him in order. And these fans hoping that when they see their team again, it's for the LCS.
Oh, the Cubs bullpen has been perfect against the Giants. Not just the 6+ innings in the postseason, add 26 more scoreless regular season innings, and that is some impressive relief.
And we welcome in a familiar face to Cubs fans. Sean Estes, former Cubs and Giants pitcher, now a Giants postgame live analyst for CSN Bay Area. Sean, Madison Bumgarner has been automatic in the postseason. All of his performances have been. What's been the biggest key for him when the lights are this bright?
Well, it's funny. I don't know how I'm supposed to answer that when he can't even answer that. Yeah, he's been asked that quite a bit, but having pitched before and knowing the magnitude of the games that he's been in, I've never been in the magnitude of the games that he's pitched in, winner take all, winner go home games. I mean, whatever he does, it's pretty impressive. If I had to guess what he does, is that first and foremost, he's good. He's got good stuff. Secondly, he's about as mentally tough as you're going to get. It doesn't matter what situation. He almost seems to thrive more when he pitches on the road in those games. He likes to shut the crowd up. He goes out there with his bulldog mentality where he's not going to take anything from anybody. He has a lot of confidence that way. But I think more than anything, he just has the ability to slow the game down in the big moments. And a lot of guys, the heart rate starts to pick up. They start to overthrow a little bit. They miss the strike zone. They get hit. He actually has the ability to slow the ball down. I mean, I really wanted to go out there and check his pulse when he took the mound in New York last Wednesday just to see, what his heart rate was at, because it didn't look like he was even breathing heavy. He was one of those guys that's just so calm and cool and relaxed, but underneath he's got this fire, this competitiveness, and he knows how to pitch. He's got a great aptitude for pitching. So all those things that I just mentioned, and the ability of him to just hyper-focus in the biggest moments and shut the crowd out, that's why I think he thrives in those situations.
It seems like everybody's talking about Bumgarner, rightfully so, but what about Jake Arrieta? How does this long layoff impact last year's Cy Young Award winner?
Well, we'll have to see. We saw Samardzija the other night, pitch in Chicago, and he hadn't pitched in 10 days. So guys, like power pitchers, I feel like they like to pitch every 5th day. They like to keep their rhythm going. They don't want to have to go out there and feel too strong where they're overthrowing or they're throwing through their pitches. And we didn't see Samardzija throw a curveball the other night, so it's 34th pitch. And maybe that was a lot to do with the fact that he didn't feel like he had a good feel for it. His arm felt too strong. So I touch feel guys, they like to go every 5th day because they don't want to feel too strong. I'd say that with power pitchers, it's the same way. They rely a lot on adrenaline. They're going to have more of it tonight, in Arrieta. And, he's one of those guys that goes out there, and he's a lot like Madison Bumgarner, very competitive. He's got great stuff, but he needs to find his release point. He can get erratic at times, so we'll have to see, how the layoff. Obviously, he's going to feel extremely strong going out there. I think the first inning, always look at the first inning with guys like that. Are they able to calm their nerves down? Are they able to settle in, find a release point, get their command in the strike zone? Because as soon as they do that, then they become awfully tough. So I know as a Giant hitter right now, they're thinking we got to get Arrieta early in this game.
Sean, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it, and have a great show tonight. All right, folks, maybe you're having a Cubs watch party at the house tonight. Well, the heckler adding to the fun for you and your friends. Game 3 NLDS bingo board. Al Capone or Alcatraz mentioned. That's a given. Somebody's going to get that. Hopefully, Baez points skyward and maybe another RBI by a Cubs pitcher. More SportsNet Central when we come back.
With Custom Ink, you can design custom t-shirts and other great products for every occasion. From the first day of school to game day and everything in between. With the best collection of styles and graphics to choose from, it's easy to go online and create custom t-shirts and more for all of life's events. Get free shipping and on-time delivery, guaranteed. Go to customink.com to get started today.
The best things in life are free. Choose excitement. Choose action. Choose Hollywood Casinos and you've already won. 2 Chicagoland locations with more of the games you want, more of the generous rewards you deserve, and celebrations that shine all night. That's the kind of star power that can take you places. Hollywood Casino, Aurora, and Joliet. There's no place like Hollywood.
Ready, Dad?
Esurance does auto insurance a smarter way, like their photo claims tool. It helps settle your claim quickly, which saves time, which saves money. And when they save, you save. That's auto and home insurance for the modern world. Esurance, an Allstate company. Click or call. Esurance does insurance a smarter way, which saves money, like bundling home and auto coverage, which reduces red tape, which saves money. And when they save, you save. That's home and auto insurance for the modern world. Esurance, an Allstate company. Click or call.
Jason Hayward returning to San Francisco for the first time since he made this amazing catch back in May. But Hayward's going to be available off the bench tonight with Soler in the lineup playing left. Hey, whatever it takes to close out the Giants.
Besides, why else am I here to win? Why else am I here besides trying to win? If all 25 of us do something to help our team win every night, then we do something good, and we feel like a lot of good things can come of that. And that's the way we look at it. We selfishly, as individuals, want to do something each time.
Here's how the Giants lineup will look against Jake Arrieta tonight. You see San Francisco's career numbers against Jake. Buster Posey just 1 for 15 against Arrieta. Brandon Belt 0 for 10. For more on who has the edge tonight in San Francisco, we go to the BAM with Layla and Holly.
Bam. Hey, Todd, it is tail of the tape time. So give us the check marks for Jake Arrieta against Madison Bumgarner. These are your categories. Right. Fastball, secondary pitches, command, home field. And they are in San Francisco tonight. Obviously, experience.
Well, everybody wants to know the advantage. I mean, everybody's seeing this as a marquee matchup, one of the biggest, obviously, in all of baseball, certainly with the playoffs going on right now. I'll tell you right now, before I even get into this, I would take Jake Arrieta in this game over everybody else in the Cubs rotation. I think that's a pretty big statement, right? We know that we got John Lester, Hendricks, Lackey. Jake Arrieta, I think, is the right man in the right spot against a Madison Bumgarner. He will rise to the occasion tonight and pitch a fantastic ball game. Now, we look at these categories. We got fastball, secondary pitches, command, home field advantage, and experience. All of them are obviously very, very important to the success of certainly starters and how they feel. But I don't know if there's really a clear-cut advantage working our way down. So let's start at the top, fastball. I'm going to go both guys here. Both have very, very good fastballs. So I don't know if I'm going to go one way or the other. Jake Arrieta's got more velocity. Bumgarner, he can spot it as well as anybody. There's only a couple soft spots in his zoning that show you that you can get to him. Other than that, he dominates as well. So we know Arrieta, one of the toughest guys in all of baseball, to square up, especially that fastball. Secondary pitches, I will go the same way. But I'm leading to something with this. There is one category that I think there's an advantage for Madison Bumgarner, and it actually is the next one. So we know we've got fastballs and secondary pitches, and we talk about Jake Arrieta, how good he's been all season this year, compare him to last year, so we say he's a little bit less than what he was last year, but still one of the best guys in the game. Madison Bumgarner, he actually is more of a postseason performer than a regular season performer. Not that he's any kind of slouch there. He's just been incredible in the postseason throughout his career. But here's the one thing that definitely stands out. I have to give the advantage when it comes to command to Madison Bumgarner. There will probably be a moment in tonight's ball game where you see Jake Arrieta cruising along, retired 9 of 9 or 9 of 10, and that there somehow is a point where he kind of gets away. His fastball doesn't seem to be in the zone. He's not getting the swings and misses around the corners. Maybe he starts to walk a guy or two or starts to teeter just a little bit. Or the other place that sometimes we've seen lately is his fastball straightens out over the plate. That's another place you've got to be careful of. But it always seems to kind of be contained in a moment. So pay attention for that moment tonight and see what Jake Arrieta does with that moment, because I really do think that this game tonight may actually come down to that moment that I'm describing to you right there. Home field advantage says, well, listen, this is Madison Bumgarner's ballpark. He should clearly have home field advantage. That's why I told you about why I would take Jake Arrieta in this spot tonight, because I don't believe there is a home field advantage. Oh. He has been very, very good at home, no doubt about it. Certainly his numbers stand out, and it is a pitcher's park, but Jake Arrieta's made 4 starts in San Francisco at AT&T Park. He's got a 2 ERA. He's won 3 or 4 starts. He's very comfortable there. We've seen Jake Arrieta in a win-all game. Now, he has not had the playoff experience that Madison Bumgarner has. He's got 23 consecutive scoreless innings, all the wins, the big performances, and he just won a wild card game. Well, Jake did that just last year. So, I mean, again, I'm not freaking out over him having more opportunities. Jake has risen to the occasion regardless of his opportunities being a little bit fewer. So here you go. It comes down to experience. Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing, Madison Bumgarner probably wins that category, but because of Jake Arrieta's success, I am not overwhelmed by it. So again, experience matters, and I just play off of last season's experience.
Well, that's good stuff. And now let's take a look very, very quickly. You got about 30 seconds to tell us what you think of this defensive alignment behind Jake Arrieta.
Well, I think it's a good one to start. I think the idea is it's defensive, but it's maybe even a little bit more offensive against Madison Bumgarner. Obviously, you see Soler in left field tonight. You're hoping for some thump from him. I mean, I think you're going to see Jason Hayward factor into this ball game, ideally with a lead at some point. If you see it in the 5th, if you see it in the 6th, you will start to see some switching. Jake may still be on the mound, and you still might see some switching. Traditionally, double switching, which understand, right? So you may see Jason Hayward come into tonight's ball game for Soler, say in the 5th inning, even though Jake Arrieta is still in the game.
Good stuff, Holly. Thanks so much. We look forward to more on Cubs Postseason Live coming up shortly.
And more baseball around the bend. We're going to look at the top 5 moments from the first 2 games after a quick timeout.
Hey, zombie, use your brain. The best Kia deals can be found at Schaumburg Kia.
During our sales spooktacular, lease a brand new 2016 Optima for just $99 a month.
Bob Rohrman.
Bob Rohrman's Schaumburg Kia, just west of the Woodfield Mall on Gulf Road, Schaumburg.
The conference call, the ultimate arena for business.
Hour after hour of diving deep, touching base, and putting ducks in rows. The only problem with conference calls, eventually they have to end. Unless you have the Comcast Business Voice Edge mobile app. It lets you switch seamlessly from your desk phone to your mobile with no interruptions. I've never felt so alive.
Get the future of phone, and the phones are free. Comcast Business, built for business.
Your living room TV. If only you could bring it with you anywhere you went. It's got everything. Your live channels, instant access to the best entertainment, plus your recorded shows. The only problem is, it's stuck in your living room. Well, not anymore. Finally, you have the power to make the world your living room. Now the live channels you love and watch at home are with you anywhere. Download the new free DirecTV app. It's your TV. Take it with you.
I stole from my family, my friends, loved ones, everybody, and I ended up screwing them over.
It almost cost me my life. It cost me my kids. It cost me my marriage. It cost me everything.
If this sounds like you or someone you love, then it's time to call the Addiction Recovery Network. We're an organization that cares about breaking the cycle of addiction. The Addiction Recovery Network ensures that everyone who calls receives the right treatment for them.
It's the hardest thing to do when you're on drugs is ask for help.
That's why ARN is there for anyone needing treatment for alcohol abuse, drug addiction, or dependence on prescription medications.
I think ARN is important because it allows people the chance to weed out the good from the bad for what they need.
Plus, ARN can tell you if your insurance will cover your treatment. Finding the right treatment for you is why we exist.
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, the people at ARN have the solution for you.
I called. Make the free call now.
Cubs up 2-0 in the NLDS with a chance to sweep the Giants out of the postseason tonight. Let's take a look at the best 3 moments in this series so far. Kyle Hendricks leaves with an injury. Travis Wood takes over at the mound and the plate. A solo bomb. Cubs pitchers would drive in 3 of the 5 runs on Saturday. Travis joining Rick Sutcliffe and Kerry Wood as the only other Cubs pitchers to ever homer in the postseason.
Number 2, how about the closer, Aroldis Chapman? The final out of Game 1, Hunter Pence grounds out to end it. And then in Game 2, Chapman dials it up to 102.5 miles an hour, fanning Kelby Tomlinson on the heater.
Javi time in Game 1, 108 years since they've won a World Series. Javier Baez cranks one out on the 108th pitch from Johnny Cueto. It was the only run of Game 1, special assist to that basket in left field.
And don't forget, after the early edition of Cubs Postseason Live, it hits your way at 7:30, and then after the final out, tune back in to see us in Chicago for what we hope is another champagne celebration.
Now we're out of time. You know what we should do? We got these blue foam fists that I got at the store. We should blow it up for a Cubs win. Thanks for watching SportsNet Central, presented by Comcast Business.
I think David Kaplan's going to kill you.
Does Cap have these? Cap has one of these?